Ailin here, back again with another Q&A video. Well, I'm really excited to film this video for you guys because it's been a little bit of time since I last filmed a Q&A video like this, answering your most recent questions. For a few weeks now, I've been focused more on coming out with videos that are more like Detox 101 videos, videos where people that are brand new to the channel would benefit from watching sort of like introductory videos. So I've been really focused on like creating shorter videos like that for you guys because it seemed to be kind of lacking in the channel. You guys know, you guys that have seen like all of my videos, that most of my videos run like, you know, an hour long time. Some of them are an hour and a half. You guys know how I like to go really in depth with your questions, so I really thought that it was lacking in the channel. But yeah, now that we have a few of them out there, I thought I'd go back and revisit some of the longer videos and some of your most recent questions. So I've been seeing a lot of really great questions, so keep up the good work. Keep on commenting all of your questions down below this video, and I'll eventually get to all of them. But I'm going to do my best to get a crack at, you know, answering most of your questions, you know, getting a handful of them each week, and keep on moving forward with helping you guys heal. You know, and I want to put this message out there to people that are right now suffering. Like, if you're suffering and if you're struggling with healing your health issues, know that detoxification is the answer. Know that this YouTube channel right here is a safe space for all of you to you know, really roll up your sleeves and get the ball rolling when it comes to empowering yourself, taking your power back in order to heal yourself. Remember that the body, the human body, is the #1 healer. All we really have to do is get out of its way, stop feeding it acidic forming foods, you know, put to the forefront, you know, what is our priority? Our priority is rest. Our priority is feeding it high alkalizing, raw, high vibrational, hydrating foods to pump the lymph system, to remove toxicity out of the body, acidosis, all the things that destroy the cells and destroy the tissues, because that is the root cause of most diseases, of 99% of all diseases. So if we keep that simple focus, and if we put trust in the process, we're going to heal and reverse everything, anything and everything, okay? So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there for anyone that's suffering. You know, I myself, for those of you that know my story, I myself reversed fibromyalgia, which is known as an incurable disease, chronic fatigue syndrome, so bad that it was painful from head to toe. I was quickly moving along to needing a wheelchair, you know, being bedridden for many years. And I tried everything, and it wasn't until I found detoxification and took this approach that it was day and night and day. Within a week, my symptoms were getting better. I went through the whole detox journey. Sure, I experienced detox symptoms, but I came out on the other side well again, you know, in order to have enough energy to help all of you guys heal. So, and this is what we see with all the clients that come to us. You guys just keep on getting better and better for those of you that follow the program. And yes, in today's world, it can be kind of hard to follow a raw food program, a raw vegan program, but it's the top of the mountain. If you've already tried everything else and nothing else is helping you heal, this is the top of the mountain. And what I recommend for people is don't play around with trying out all these different things, all these other different therapies that isn't going to get to that strength and power that you need to heal chronic health issues. Because oftentimes what happens, and what we see with the clients that come to us, is that they gradually get worse and worse as acids are left to fester in and around the cells. They don't just sit there and look pretty, they continue to destroy the cells. And diets that don't reach the lymphatic system, don't reach removing these acids, that's the result that you're going to get. You know, the paleo diet, the keto diet, none of those. Sure, some of them remove some of the worst offending foods, but you're still adding in the meats, you're still adding in the fats. These things do not detox and clean the body. So we're really about, like, this channel is about cleaning the body and restoring the vitality to the cells, and in turn regenerating tissues and cells, and, you know, everything that composes the glands and organs and systems of the body. So yeah, to everyone that's new to the channel, I wanted to put that message out there. But let us begin. Let us dive deep into your questions, and here we go. Okay, so first question is, Ailin, can you go into reversing the effects of cerebral palsy in a Q&A video? Okay, so with cerebral palsy, there's a lot of notions that cerebral palsy is caused by different things, right? It can be caused by infections, it can be caused while the child is in the mother's womb, it could be caused by trauma to the brain, it could be caused by premature birth. There's all these different causes that is out there, that they proclaim causes cerebral palsy. But what we have to realize is the concept of disease is not really true. It's kind of made up, guys, because doctors, the medical professionals, all these different people, what they like to do is they like to classify these diseases, put a name and a stamp on a set of symptoms. But with cerebral palsy, we see a lot of the same similar symptoms in a lot of other different diseases. So we see similar symptoms happening in autism. We see similar symptoms happening in, MS or Parkinson's, similar symptoms as cerebral palsy. But, they look at okay, how old is this patient? When did it happen? What part of the brain is affected with their scans and all those things? But we see similarities across the board. So in order to fully heal from cerebral palsy and get out of the medical grips, which is going to keep you there in that incurable state, you first have to let go of the concept that there is a disease to begin with. All diseases are caused by acids and toxicity that destroy the nervous system, the brain, the central nervous system, and all the glands of the body. And that's what we see with cerebral palsy. So what I see with clients that come to me with these sort of symptoms with cerebral palsy, it can vary from tremors, muscle tremors, to loss of control of muscle movement, to not having refined motor skills, to slurred speech, to poor development. This is what we see with a lot of our clients that are children, that are babies, newborns. A lot of them can't raise their head, they're not crawling, they're not having the proper development for their age, the stage where they should be at, right? So what do we see in these people? Very, very common. When I look at their eyes in iridology, a lot of the times we see gland weaknesses, adrenal gland weakness. We see nerve rings going around the eyes. We see brain lesions going up into the head area in the brain. For those of you that are new to iridology, you can check out my iridology videos. I've created an iridology playlist here on this channel so you guys can see what it is that I'm talking about. But essentially through iridology, we're able to see, okay, is there a weakness in this part of the body, in this tissue, in this gland, in this part of the brain? We can see that all mapped out in the iris. So you don't need to have these different scans, or you don't have to have these intrusive matters in order to find out whether or not there's a weakness in this part of the brain or this part of the body or not, So what we see with cerebral palsy is oftentimes these sort of clients have a weakness or a brain lesion in these parts of the brain, okay? These parts of the brain control muscle movement, control balance, dizziness, vertigo, the senses, speech, all these different things. The first one is the cerebellum. Now this is even common with MS cases. So like we were saying, a lot of these neurological disorders have similar weaknesses, okay? And so very similar approaches are taken when healing these health issues. So when you have a weakness in the cerebellum, what we see with the person, what types of symptoms do we see? We see problems with balance and dizziness and ability to walk and ability to control muscle movements. Same thing goes for the basal ganglia of the brain. And same thing goes for the brainstem. And same thing goes for the cerebral cortex, the motor cortex specifically. So these are all areas and signs that I look out for in anyone that comes to us that are looking to heal, Because if you have these chronic weaknesses in the iris, Things like that get worse and worse over time. As acids are trapped in the brain, they continue to deteriorate the brain, okay? So I'm looking at that. I'm looking for tissue degeneration, possible genetic weaknesses going on in the head. Is very common, you know. What I see a lot of the time is in that transverse colon region, in the iris, many of these lesions are stemming from that transverse colon region, going up into the head. So it's very common for people to have a lot of toxicity in the gut and in the colon, and this toxicity then moves up the radii solaris, affecting the brain. Very common too is poor circulation in the upper head region. Poor circulation, or what's known as anemia to the extremities. We can see that in the iris. Sometimes there's like a sodium ring, cholesterol ring that is impacting blood flow up into the brain region to feed the brain, to feed the nerve cells. But sometimes there's a blue hue, like a blue purple hue, that's also pointing to poor circulation in the brain, as seen in iridology. So all these symptoms that deal with cerebral palsy mainly deals with muscle movement, right? What controls the muscles? The nervous system. But trauma to the nervous system can have many different causes, right? Trauma to the central nervous system and trauma to the autonomic nervous system. Trauma to the spinal cord. Any trauma, whether that's an accident, whether that's poor blood flow, stroking, whether that's toxicity from vaccinations, can all lead to the same symptom. So for me to say what caused cerebral palsy in that particular person is very individual to that person, okay? So this is why working with a detox specialist is very imperative, because when we assess your case, we look at your health history. We look at, ever since you were born, how were you fed? What toxins was your family exposed to? What toxins were you exposed to? All those different types of things go into assessing someone and recommending how you go about healing and reversing cerebral palsy. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to give a general outline of what you should go after when trying to correct cerebral palsy. And it can be done. We've seen all the time. Like for me, for instance, I've been working on children that have symptoms of cerebral palsy. You know, a lot of the people that come to us, they're very natural minded. Most of you guys are natural minded. The best results that we've had in helping people heal from cerebral palsy, especially in children, has been when both parents were on board. Because if you only have one parent on board and the other parent is not on board with, helping the child heal, not through medical intervention, but through natural means, then success rates are low. Because constant stress, whether that's the mother or the father constantly battling each other, and that gets in the way of the child healing. But what you want to focus on when it comes to any neurological disorder is reconnecting the nervous system, reconnecting all of those neural synapses connections, right? So there's different areas of the body that there can be a problem that can, hinder this firing of the nervous system, for all the signals to go up and communicate in the central brain and the muscles and everywhere in the body, okay? So it could be a problem with the myelin sheaths themselves that are breaking down. This is when we see nerve rings around the iris. It could be a problem with the ion channels in the neural synapses of the neurons. This is controlled by the parathyroid gland and calcium utilization in the body. The sodium-potassium balance as well, stemming from the adrenal glands. The neurotransmitters that feed the nervous system and helps it communicate with the rest of the body. So all those things, parathyroid gland, adrenal glands, the nervous system, the autonomic nervous system itself, the brain area, the spinal cord as well, all of the nerves that feed all the different tissues of the body must be addressed. Sometimes there's a weakness in the spinal cord itself when you look at the iris, whether that's the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, the lumbar spine. A lot of times there's a cervical involvement since it's the neck right there. Then very common you'll see a cerebellum brainstem weakness in that area since it's so close. So wherever acids are, wherever they're located, acids are chewing up, okay? This is why, like, just to give an example for you guys, a lot of people come to us with breast cancer, right? But what do we also see? Involvement with the breast, we see issues with the lungs, and then we see issues with the heart, you know? We see issues with the rib cage. Acids go after every single tissue. Breast tissue, lung tissue, heart tissue, bones. Tissue is comprised of not just soft matter, it's also comprised of bone, muscle, connective tissue. You know, it doesn't have to be soft. It can be soft or hard, and acids can break down both very easily, you know? So going back to what I was getting at was, if you're someone with cerebral palsy, or if you have a child that you suspect has cerebral palsy or showing these types of symptoms, then the first thing you must do is focus on an all-fruit diet. Completely 100% raw with an emphasis on fruit. And this is because fruit in particular, there's no other food out there that exists in nature. Only fruit is able to clean and strengthen all the cells of the body while at the same time strengthening the nerve cells and the nervous system. There's been no study out there, unfortunately, that proves this, even though time and time again, thousands upon thousands of cases have seen the repair of the nervous system and neurological disorders while on a raw vegan diet, while on a fruit diet. Now keep in mind, these are higher levels of healing. When I talk about a raw vegan diet on this channel, for transitional purposes, you can have some avocados and some nuts and seeds when you're first transitioning. But in order to heal neurological disorders, you must get high up on that scale of 100% fruit. A low-fat, low-protein diet. Fat and protein will hinder your body's ability to detox. It will hinder the kidneys from filtering out all the lymphatic sewage, all the lymphatic waste, all the toxicity. Especially in children. Children have liver gallbladder weaknesses like left and right. 9 out of 10 children have liver gallbladder weaknesses. So you want to keep fat a little bit on the lower side. If the child can tolerate fat, then you can give them things like coconut meat, right? Some avocado. But at a certain point, if the child is too advanced, you have to focus on 100% fruit, low fat, low protein diet, you know? It's unfortunate because I was talking to a family the other day that came to me. You know, the mom came to me. She's looking to heal her daughter from, you know, a neurological issue. I'm not going to say what, but, you know, just to protect the privacy of this family. You know me, guys. I never mention any names at all in any of these videos. But the dad was not on board. He kept on thinking that it was a B12 deficiency that was causing all of his daughter's health issues, when it clearly wasn't, you know. But that's the medical mentality. They like to blame deficiencies or bacteria or viruses when in actuality it's the body. It's often the lifestyle. It's the exposure. So whatever we eat, drink, think, breathe, or put on our skin is the way that our cells come in contact with the rest of the world. So the process of reversing diseases is all about removing yourself out of anything and everything that has to do with toxicity and acidosis. Stress, by the way, causes acidosis as well in the body, you know? So what you're looking for is a complete lifestyle change to go after the most incurable diseases out there, which again, that's just a label. Nothing is incurable. I've seen people that look like this finally relieve all their muscle stiffness, become limber again, and have complete movement of their body and become self-reliant on themselves, not having to rely on other people to do every day-to-day activities, you know? So everything's possible, but you have to have that mentality, 100% fruit for as long as it takes in order to heal. And you're going to see detox symptoms, right? You're going to see a lot of detox symptoms. But if you're in a wheelchair or if you're the parent of a child, you know, you have nothing but time, as well as you don't want to be hooked to medications or steroids. Steroids will just bring the gland function down, 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 down. And here's the thing. Why is it that these sorts of neurological disorders are becoming more and more common nowadays? It's due to genetics. Our grandparents, their grandparents, so our great-grandparents, and our parents did not know about detoxification, did not detox their bodies. So if you have this toxicity and this exposure to toxicity, for instance, if your grandpa was exposed to toxicity, right? In terms of environmental toxicity or a vaccination or medications or something like that, and he did not detoxify his body, and then he had your mom or dad as a child, and then they had you and they didn't detox, that toxin is in your cell, in your tissues right now, and has created a weakness of the cell. So by following a detox program, you're not only detoxifying yourself of any environmental exposures to toxins, or due to poor eating habits of eating meat and dairy, processed foods, glutens, artificial chemicals or sweeteners. Not only are you detoxifying that, you're also detoxifying past generational toxicity that has weakened the cell. And this is how detoxification works, through the lymphatic system. So if your body sees a cell that's damaged, it has one of two options. Either it will assess it and see, okay, is this cell okay enough for me to clean and restore and regenerate it to its maximum function, or is this cell too far gone that I have to eliminate it? And it does, through the lymph nodes, taken through all the lymph vessels in the body, and then taken down to the kidneys to be filtered out of the body. Okay, so this is all it really takes is focus and dedication. Do you have that drive? Do you have the understanding? Do you have the knowledge to do what it takes to follow a 100% fruit diet to heal any disease of the brain, the central nervous system, the autonomic nervous system, or chemical toxin exposure? Because that's what it comes down to. Those are the main causative factors: genetic weaknesses, acidosis, toxicity. There's nothing else. Every other causative factor comes from one of those three, or what we see very often is it comes from all of these. The human body is falling under more and more pressures. Societal pressures, stress, just falling away from nature. The more we've fallen away from nature, the more suffering we are facing. And that's the reality of it, right? So let's talk about, we spoke about the diet aspect, right? How would you go about reversing the effects of cerebral palsy? Now let's talk about the herbal aspect. What I generally do is I put my clients on upper circulation and brain and nerve. Once we've ruled out there is no possible tumor in the brain, there's no possible tumors in the neck, anywhere up here, upper circulation, okay? And the brain and nerve formula to restore the function of the nerve cells, to myelinate the nerve cells as well, because of the myelin sheaths. In nerve cells that are demyelinated, the responses through the synapses and all the neurons is very, very weak, very slow. So how can the brain then send its messages to the muscles to control muscle movement? It can't. So this is why upper circulation and brain and nerve is essential. And like we were talking about in the iris, the brain and the colon have a reflex reaction with each other, a reflex relationship. So in order to fully heal the brain and drain lymph up here and down the spine, the colon must be drained lymphatically as well. So with the power and the vibrancy of fruits and berries, raw foods and melons, you're able to go in there and fully clean, hydrate the cells. Remember, cells cannot hold onto acids in an alkaline environment. A cell cannot be dehydrated in an alkaline hydrated medium. So cells then push all acidosis out, okay? And this is what we see commonly with cancer cases as well. Cancer is nothing but a damaged cell to the point of no return very often. So that's what we see in degenerative diseases as well. Cells that have been damaged to the point of no return. Until you go in there with the correct diet and bring the power of nature, the power of the universe into the cells. So here's a basic herbal protocol for someone that has cerebral palsy, okay? You'll want to be on upper circulation and brain and nerve for the entirety of your detox program. You'll also want to clean out the colon with the GI Renew formula, whatever number, depending on how many number of bowel movements you're having. Eventually, if you can handle the GI broom, you'll want to get on the GI broom to relieve mucus, sulfur, parasites. Parasite M is excellent to get rid of any viral loads as well. An endocrine balance formula will be excellent. I would go after the adrenal glands pretty hardcore, because 9 out of 10 people have adrenal weakness, chronic adrenal weakness, and especially in the clients that come to us. So in order to feed the nervous system, the adrenal gland connection to that must be addressed, okay? I would check, and this is why it's so important to get an iridology analysis and, to get your entire case assessed, because then we would see if you have a pituitary gland weakness, a hypothalamus gland weakness, or a parathyroid or thyroid gland weakness. These are areas that you can't tell if they're chronic or degenerative just by looking at your symptoms. You can't. There's a possibility, but you can only tell by looking at the eyes through iridology. And of course, I would recommend a kidney formula, probably 2 kidney formulas, since the kidneys are really down nowadays in every single person. The adrenal glands are down, the kidneys are down. It's like right there on the iris map. So kidney formulas. The lymph system, slowly but surely, gradually including that into someone's herbal protocol, depends again if they're a child, if they're an adult, what level of weakness they have, what their diet was like prior. You don't want to move the lymph system too aggressively in the beginning, because the kidneys need to catch up. The kidneys need to catch up in order to filter out this lymph system. Otherwise, you're going to experience a lot of unpleasant detox symptoms if you move the lymph system too much too soon, okay? But that's a very basic herbal protocol. Beyond that, whether you need a parathyroid formula, I would recommend kelp if you're going to need a parathyroid formula for a parathyroid weakness. Kelp provides a lot of calcium, helps control the ion channels in the nervous system, like we discussed before. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Beyond what I can recommend. But detox tools that you can use, again, depending on how old the person is, the neurolymphatic massage, the points going down the spine is very, very useful. You can find out how to do that detox tool on my website at www.spiritualhealing.com. We have an article discussing the benefits of the neurolymphatic massage, massaging these points down the spine, and how to do it. Another detox tool that you can do is castor oil packs. I've heard a lot of good things from clients of mine that when they applied castor oil packs to any area that was giving them trouble, whether it was inflamed or congested, putting a castor oil pack on there has, given rise to beneficial detox symptoms, expectoration of mucus or draining of the lymph system. So that can be quite beneficial as well. Let me think, what else? Well, very often people with neurological disorders can't really handle heat too well, so I would avoid anyone that has a neurological disorder go into the sauna. Like I wouldn't recommend that initially. You have to alkalize the body a bit more, offer cooling effects. Alkalization is cooling, heat is acidic, so it really depends on where you are. Once your nervous system is strengthened and it is just stronger in general, then you can try out things like the sauna to get your skin to sweat and expectorate. But other than that, I wouldn't recommend something like that. Cold therapy would actually be what you'd want in that case. Cold therapy, it would be alkalizing, it would promote circulation in the body. So I would recommend cold therapy, depending on, again, like your level of tolerance and how old you are, right? So yeah, I hope that answered your question, but just know that cerebral palsy is really just a huge umbrella term to describe a set of symptoms, and these symptoms can vary from any sort of movement that you'd find in the body, whether that's muscle control, spasms, tremors, difficulty walking, difficulties with speech and talking. All these areas of the brain can be affected. The areas of the spine can be affected, and neurotoxins and excitotoxins can play a large role in the suppression of the nervous system. Now, I'm a big believer that ever since the introduction of more and more vaccinations into our children and into newborns has given rise to many, many chronic health conditions. And it's more often than not that the people that come to us, clients that come to us that have experienced asthma or diabetes or autism, it was after being vaccinated. I spoke to someone, a client, 2 days ago, and she told me that she only started getting asthma after having gone through a trial of vaccines, a vaccine testing that her mom, or her parents put her on at a very young age. So you have genetic weaknesses of the adrenal glands, and then you put on top of that neurotoxins that suppress and shut down the adrenal glands even more. You're going to develop these neurological disorders. Trouble breathing, trouble with sugar metabolism, trouble with steroid production and inflammation in the system, trouble with the nerves connecting and communicating with each other, neurotransmitters again from the adrenal glands. It's like a planned attack on the adrenal glands. It's insane, it's insanity. So instead of going more on that side with toxifying your body, what is the remedy? It's detoxifying the body. And again, I'm not here to convince anyone, but I am here to help bring these puzzle pieces together, to help people make connections that need to be made before the human race ceases to exist, because that's kind of like the road that we're on nowadays. So yeah, guys, I hope that answered your question. If you have more information to add to that, whether you ask that question for yourself, or for maybe your child, or for someone that more information would be useful in order for me to give you more accurate or just more specific ways in order to reverse this health condition, okay? But I hope that answered your question as much as possible. Okay, guys. That right there could have been a video onto itself, but I'll go into answering this second question, and then I gotta go, guys. I have a lot of casework to do, a lot of casework to get through. And right now, I'm juice fasting, plus dry fasting. So I'm taking advantage of the fact that watermelon is in season, drinking watermelon juice right there. It's fantastic at cleaning out the bowels, cleaning out the colon. And like everyone that's watching this video, take advantage of the fact that fruits are coming more and more into season. You're finding more fresh fruits, more ripe fruits. Like now is the time to be able to clean out your body, especially during this lockdown. A lot of people have nothing but time right now. A lot of people are at home, and there's something good that came about with this lockdown. As many of you guys have been telling me that since you're at home and since You don't have the stress of like work or going to school as much or interacting or like going out there rushing and bustling in the outside world. That detox has become more pleasant, much easier due to the fact that stress is at an all-time low. In terms of, like physically moving your body around or using like your mental capacity too much. Too much stress creates acidosis, and that can also hold people back on their detox journey. So more and more people now are seeing, just like the power of detoxification and the correlation between detox and relaxation. Relaxation is super important to incorporate in your detox, because for people that are extremely stressed out, even if they're following the right diet, taking the right herbs, something like stress can hold you back from healing. Just something as simple as stress, whether that's physical, emotional, or mental stress in your job or your relationships or what have you. So that's something to keep in mind for everyone that's watching this video. And it's important for you to make the necessary adjustments and changes in order for you to have nothing stand in your way on your healing journey. Don't let something or someone stand in the way of you healing your body, because you're in control. You're in control of your universe and your body, okay? Remember that. Okay, guys, so this next question. Is it possible to detox during first trimester? If so, any tips, etc.? Thank you for all your videos and due diligence. No, thank you. The pleasure is all mine. That's why I make these videos, is because number one, it's my passion. Number two, I've been studying this for years, ever since I was a wee child. I've always wanted to be a healer. I guess must be in my blood, or must be in my soul contract or something like that. And yeah, I can't see a better career path or a better use of my time than helping people get rid of everything that's causing them suffering. Like, that truly brings so much joy into my own life, is being able to help all of you fully live out yours. So thank you so much. Okay, but how to detox during first trimester? Is it possible to detox during first trimester? I would say just detox slowly. Just do the basics when it comes to detoxifying while you're pregnant, because you don't want to aggressively detox. Now, unless you're facing something like cancer or something that gets worse with time, then I would say go aggressive with your detox, even if you are pregnant, to save your own life, right? But I would say that if you're not facing anything like that, if you're just looking to heal some minor health issues or clean up your body, just a good solid raw food diet is sufficient. As well as taking formulas like the superfood blend, number 2, high in calcium. Many mothers are suffering from postpartum depression because whenever you have the baby just leaches calcium out of you. If you have a parathyroid weakness, that's even more so. You can get a lot of things like ridged fingernails, bruising easily, varicose veins, spider veins, losing the tone of your skin, of your muscles. All those things is very common during pregnancy and after pregnancy. So that's why I always recommend the superfood blend, number 2. That formula, just consider it like a nutritive and healing food for you to take during your detox, or like little detox while you're pregnant, okay? And this is going to feed the fetus too, and gently cleanse the fetus. And when they're born, they're going to be 1,000 times healthier than if you weren't to have done this raw food detox. So again, when I say detox, I'm not talking about the aggressive type of detox that we normally talk about on this channel. What I'm really talking about is just following a raw food diet, high in fruits, and taking very basic formulas like the superfood blend. You can take the bones and connective tissue formula. That formula is very high and nutritive in calcium. Again, calcium is very important for mothers when they're pregnant. And also a good formula to take would be just a standard kidney formula to make sure that your kidneys are filtering. That way the baby's lymph system is nice and clean and healthy, because your lymph system and your baby's lymph system is connected. So if you're having lymphatic issues, the baby's also going to be born with lymphatic issues. So that's why a kidney formula is very essential. You don't have to take a lymphatic formula. Just let the fruits be your lymphatic cleanser, the lymph moving formula coming from the fruits. And yeah, I'd say don't push it, you know. And if you are facing something chronic, a chronic health issue that's serious or that's, you know, impairing your life, I would advise working with me, a detox specialist, iridologist, one-on-one, where we can assess your case and provide you with more guidance and support as to what herbs that you should take. Because there are some herbal formula, guys, that you shouldn't take during pregnancy. That's not recommended. So I can name out a few here that I use caution with. Like, I don't recommend strong lymphatic formulas like lymphatic number 4 or lymphatic number 5. I don't recommend that during pregnancy, because formulas like that, you do have the slight chance of, since, you know, lymphatic formulas are movers and they get rid of everything that is weak. Well, if nature sees the baby as being weak, in order to save yourself and in order to make way for genetics that are stronger, there's a possibility that the baby can be aborted, right? So that's why I just don't use strong lymphatic formulas. And I just focus on balancing the individual and lightly, gently cleansing the body during the time of pregnancy. So don't recommend lymphatic formulas. Depending on how often you move your bowels, you may want to be on a GI Renew formula, but again, there's some laxatives in that formula, so just use with caution, just use with the recommended dosage, not more than that, and see how your body feels. And I wouldn't use like any strong parasitic formulas as well, since there's a lot of lymphatic formulas in the parasitic formula. And yeah, just keeping it very basic. But you know, like, if you were to have a consultation with us, you know, under our guidance, we do that research for you. We know about the herbs that you shouldn't take when you're pregnant, and even on the formulas themselves, they'll say, you know, use, like, don't take during pregnancy, or don't take during early pregnancy, or don't take while you're breastfeeding. Like, all that information is provided there. So I hope that answered your question, but really it's just keep it simple. You can have your raw recipes, you can have your fruits, you can have some avocados, you can have greens, you can have vegetables. If being 100% raw is important to you, follow a 100% raw diet. That feels balanced for you. If not being 100% raw is not that important to you, you know, having most of your diet be raw with some lightly steamed veggies or a veggie meal is perfectly fine. But if it were me, if I were pregnant and if I had a child, I would really make sure that my kidneys were filtering while I was pregnant, because I would want my body to be as clean and as healthy as possible for child delivery and for my child to have the best chance possible, for me to give them the best set of kidneys and adrenals and a decent lymphatic system in order for them to grow and thrive in this world. Because like you guys are seeing, like you guys are experiencing, it just seems like everyone has a chronic health condition in this day and age, or it's brewing to become one. So, you know, it's always better safe than sorry. And I would recommend detoxification for everyone and anyone. The power is there. You know, it may not make logical sense for some people, because we've been taught the opposite of everything that I'm talking about in this video. We've been taught the opposite when we went to school. What they teach, you know, the medical professionals in society, it's the exact opposite. But it makes so much sense when we sit down and logically think about it. It makes so much sense. And then when we even put that hat on, put that detox hat on, and ride the ride ourselves, do everything, like walking with nature and eating the raw foods and eating the fruits, then we feel the difference within ourselves. And it's something that we can't discount, you know. So that's what I recommend to everyone is, you know, don't try to convince other people. Those people, when their time comes, they'll be able to have their eyes open for themselves and see how powerful this way of healing is and how powerful this way of living is, okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I'm sorry I didn't have more time, but I'll make more videos really soon. And like I've mentioned before, if you guys need help and you need professional guidance, work with me one-on-one or work with someone on our team. You know, we're developing a team here of detox specialists that have been specifically trained by me for a good amount of time. And they're experts in detoxification, and I oversee everyone's cases, and it's just so important for everyone to just start their detox path as soon as possible. Okay, time is of the essence, and if you do want to work with us one-on-one, you can go to www.spiritualhealing.com. I recommend for most people the Master Your Health package. That's where we really just put all the puzzle pieces together. Along with your iridology analysis, we're able to create the perfect diet and herbal protocol in order for you guys to heal, okay? So that information can be found in the description box down below. And again, if you like this video, give it a like. If you want to subscribe to this channel, I highly recommend it. This channel has become so important for all of you to get your health back, and the stories that we get every single day just amazes me. How a lot of you have just taken on this responsibility finally to heal yourselves, and you're just seeing miraculous results. It's just basic chemistry, basic science, and common sense. Fruits and raw foods are here to help us heal. Herbs are here to help us heal, right? Okay, guys, so I love you all. I hope you're all safe. Remember, let go of any stress. Bring laughter into your life. And just know that you are the center of your universe. You are the most important thing in the world. And give yourself love every single day. The more you give yourself love, the more you give love to everyone else. Thank you. Bye.